Hello, it's Friday the 13th of April 2018 today. So my morning got away from me a bit. I'm actually not sure what I did aside from having a cup of tea and taking my meds. I just can't remember what happened in that time. But I've set up all my drawing stuff in here, my drawing studio where I'm going to be working today. And now that I've got my essay finished, I'm going to be working on the illustrations for the children's book. So basically I've got to redo about 25 or 30 illustrations, and the reason I'm redoing them is because the author and the publisher asked if I'd make a couple of changes. So mainly what they want is that I do the illustration covering the full page, including some like watercolour background, so that when they place the text will be sort of partly in the background so that it sort of merges the text and the image more. And I think that's a cool idea and I'm very happy to do that. And because I'm redoing all the images anyway, I decided that I would use my new little tool here. This is a dip pen. So when you use one of these, you have to actually keep dipping it in the pot of ink as you're drawing. And the cool thing about these is that they've got like a sharp metal pointy end, and they make sort of scratchy, sketchy lines that are kind of quite imperfect and have like breaks in the lines and things like that. And I think that will look really cool with the style of illustrations that I'm doing for this book. And I think that the author will like it, because I know that sort of loose, sketchy things are very to her taste. So what I'm going to do is try and do as many of the images as I can with this dip pen today, just the outlines. And so, like I just said, it's the 13th now, and I think it's very unlikely that I'll be able to finish them by that deadline, especially because I have a few hospital appointments coming up which will take up some of my time. So like on Monday I've got a 4-hour cognitive assessment where they're going to run me through loads of different tests. So that really takes time away from drawing, and on top of that I've lost a bunch of days to sleep over the last few days, and I've not been doing as well as I normally am. I've had a lot more pain and muscle cramps and things like that, and a lot more aching in my joints, especially my hip, that I'm still waiting for a date for surgery on. So I think it's important when you realise that you're not able to do something and by a certain deadline, that you let the other person know as soon as possible, rather than doing a sort of mad rush to try and finish the work and then not being happy with the standard you've done the work to, and then having to submit it anyway and the other person being disappointed. So I decided to contact the author and the publisher to let them know that I had a few issues with my health and a couple of hospital appointments coming up that were going to take away from my time to do the drawings, and ask whether, given that I've got an extension on the deadline for university, whether I could spend another week or two working on the drawings so that I can get them to be, you know, my best possible work, because that's what I like. I'd like to be really proud of the illustrations I've done. So hopefully I'll get a positive response to that. I think I did the right thing there in terms of professionalism and honesty. And when you have a chronic illness, it can be sometimes very difficult to admit you can't do something because of the illness. And it's almost like by admitting that, you might see yourself as not good enough or as a failure or things like that. But the truth is, you're not a failure. By admitting that and acknowledging the limitations that you have put on you by your illness, you'll be able to manage your illness without having a bunch of major flare-ups and things.